Hello, welcome to the Eclectic Reader. Listen to great books and stories while you use your eyes and hands for other things. Now here's your host, Madison Mason.
Hi, it's Madison Mason. Thanks again for subscribing to the Eclectic Reader. We're up to chapter 41 of The Gray Quarry Boys. The Gray Quarry Boys, chapter 41, The Conspiracy. Out on the highway, the sweater started doing its intended job. Big, bulky, and colorful, the tightly woven monster had surely required the wool of 3 sheep. His beaming German grandmother, Mima, had applied all the lore of her Teutonic ancestors, accustomed to the bitterest cold, to protect her treasured boy from the danger of winter. Now it was living up to its name, Sveta. He sweated profusely in the gathering morning heat, his skin unable to breathe, soaked through the first 7 pages of the magazine. But the thief pumped on, puffing, his secret mission half complete. Danny had a rendezvous with destiny at Spring Hollow. It's hard to imagine a time when there were no bicycles, just as it must be hard for little kids today to envision a time without TV. And perhaps our grandchildren won't be able to fathom a time when there wasn't personal teleportation or rocket cycles. Every kid in Gray Quarry had a bike. Bikes of 100 descriptions transported kids along quiet, shady streets lined with green trees and front yards. It's ironical that Craven Bumgardner, one of the poorest kids in town, had the most spectacular bike. The very good reason for this was simply that Craven lived his life for this piece of equipment. He worked on his pristine vehicle with the intensity of a collector of stamps or butterflies. He thought about it night and day and scavenged every object of decorative art he could apply to his gleaming steel pony, originally a big 26-inch Schwinn, now a rural objet d'art. Object of art. Craven had salvaged a battered frame with one fender and wheel from a garbage dump in the woods, and begged, traded, or stolen, or bought everything necessary to resurrect it from the ground up. All the devotion of his heart was manifest here. He painted it deep metallic emerald green, so it shone like a jewel even on the cloudiest days. It was festooned to a detail. Colored streamers dripped from its high handle grips, reflectors embossed the seat, and a red brake light of his own devising with a blue glass jewel in the middle gave off a purple glow from a few feet away when lit up. The pinstripes along the fenders and crossbars ended in tiny gold arrowheads. It gleamed with chrome mirrors, mud flaps, and a fringed saddle seat. And multicolored reflectors wedged in its silver spokes set off its immaculately clean white wall tires. It was a work of brilliance, the Cadillac of local bikes. With great care not to scratch it, Craven stashed it in the bushes and covered his trail before climbing the jagged knoll leading to the waterfall at Spring Hollow. He stopped and sniffed, ever identifying life through his nostrils. He spent so much time in the woods, this was natural to him. Todd said Craven was so good he could smell fish under the water. It was a source of pride among his buddies. He could smell that coons had been there in the night, but so far no humans, particularly boys, especially Benny Morse, who always smelled sweet as a bathtub. Craven could tell where Benny Morse had been a week later. He climbed past the fall and around Skull Rock, parted the holly, and hopped gingerly down the rocks into the hidden sanctuary of Spring Hollow. He looked around for any intruders, knowing he would find nothing. Nobody knew about Spring Hollow except the Blackhawks. For anyone who told, it would mean the end forever. Craven went directly to the safe, pulled back the flat rock door, and reached inside. The stash was there. No one had touched it. When he heard the signal, the low whippoorwill whistle from below, he quickly pushed the stash back into the safe and scrambled up the hill behind a big oak. He didn't have long to wait. Seconds later, he smelled bath soap and bushwhacks as the bushes at the entrance parted with a crash and fat Benny Morse puffed down the steps, wide eyes. "Hey guys, where are you?" his hoarse whisper asked. Craven waited, silent, watching. This was his favorite trick. He would be 3 feet away from you and you wouldn't know it. That was how he watched Lulene and that high school guy from Jefferson City yesterday, and they never even knew. "Come on, Craven, you little pissant, I saw your bike." That did it. There was no way Craven could let that little fairy, Benny Morse, call him a pissant. He tensed to spring out into the air, to tackle Benny high, driving his nose into the dirt. And just as he jumped, something caught him around the neck and he was in a hammerlock. His stomach wrenched with surprise. His eyes went wide as he struggled to break the hold and tried to figure out who had him. Then he recognized the smell. The only person who could sneak up on Craven in the woods, beat him at his own game, and that was Todd. He heard Todd Kyle's voice laughing. You going somewhere? Craven flipped Todd over his shoulder and they came crashing down into the hollow, a swirling mangle of arms and legs. Ow, hey! Benny fell on his butt, the hell scared out of him. He scrambled away and watched as Craven and Todd struggled, grunted, and sweated in the dirt, headlocking, arm grabbing, tackling, and pouncing. Male animals exploding in a storm of life. Hey, you assholes, cut it out! The boys broke loose and squared off eye to eye, gasping. You ain't nothing, Craven puffed. Nothing enough for you, buddy. Todd laughed and put his arm around Craven's shoulder. He banged their heads together. How you doing, Craven? "'Kay, hot." Craven walked over to the spring and squatted down, throwing handfuls of water into his face. Hey, Benny. Hey, Todd. Saved your life. Thanks. Yeah, Benny, you killed a shit-eating dog. What's the matter, Benny? Todd asked. Nothing. He's shitting in his pants. Scared as what? Craven laughed, throwing water at Benny. Don't be scared, Benny. It was your big idea. Todd walked over to the safe and reached in, pulling out the bundle wrapped in green army canvas. I'm the one who should be scared. Besides, you got to try everything. Why not? You don't know how long you're going to be here. You don't want to miss anything. I'm not scared. Don't listen to that ass, Benny said. Todd untied the bundle and spread it out on the ground. 4 corncob pipes and a couple tobacco tins tumbled into the splotchy sunlight. Todd held his nose and talked in a mechanical nasal twang from last week's submarine movie. Gentlemen, the smoking lamp is now lit in all quarters. The other 2 squatted in the leaves next to Todd and picked out their pipes. Benny had painted a crude skull and crossbones on his. Todd stuffed his with a wad of fluffy gray rabbit tobacco, a plant they gleaned in the fall and stored in a wide-mouthed mason jar under Craven's chicken coop. Craven filled the Prince Albert can when it ran low. The other can contained matches. The boys lit up and lay back on the leaves by the stream to gaze philosophically and puff while lazy clouds meandered like grazing milk cows across the patch of sky above. Suddenly Craven sat up and sniffed the air. Munson, he snorted, clearing his nose, and lay back against a worn chunk of granite as Danny Munson rounded Skull Rock, gasping for breath. He stood at the top of the stairs and gleamed down at him, grinning triumphantly. I caught you. You're all under arrest. There was no reply. His buddies looked on him with bored disinterest. I brought you a present. The words hadn't finished ringing when the sweaty playboy hurtled end over end through the filtered forest light and landed with a thump, playgirl side up, in the middle of the smokers. They stared at it in reverent awe. No one dared touch it. Then, as one, they burst into enthusiastic yelling. Munson, you fucking little thieving shit, yelled Benny and grabbed for the magazine, but Todd was too fast. He held it to his heart. Show the Playmate of the Month. Let's see her tits, Craven grinned. Wait a minute. Todd withheld the magazine. Let's go through it from the beginning, page by page, and enjoy it like a good meal or book. The guy sighed and nodded assent. Danny went proudly over to the safe. He drew out a roll of long, brown, dried catalpa beans, bound in a rubber band. No pipe for me today, he said proudly. I deserve an Indian cigar for what I've been through. He bit both ends off one of the Indian cigars and happily lit up, choking on the hot, acrid smoke. The greatest thing about the hideout was they could smoke and cuss just like men, and nobody could say don't. Danny settled down with the guys in a circle and blew a big smoke ring. Todd flipped the cover of the sacred contraband to the table of contents. Good going, Munson. You did good. Fucking A right. Now let's see some Ooh, Benny's gaze fell on the rounded globes of Janet Pilgrim. Mamma mia, baby, I'm in love. He moaned and rolled over on the ground in mock agony. Man, I'd love to get my hands on her, Munson whispered. You wouldn't know what to do, scoffed Craven. Baby, look at that. Everything's so round and pretty. Not like my sister. Yeah, not like your sister, they all agreed. They were unanimous in their loathing of Luline. She made all their lives so miserable that they never visited Craven at home. He had to do the visiting. She was nice to Todd, but all girls loved Todd, though he was unaware. Many hearts would be broken by the lost beauty of Todd Kyle when he was taken. My sister's a whore, Craven blurted. I saw her fucking a guy in a convertible yesterday, that Bobby Ray Weeks from Jefferson City. They were in the woods over by the quarry. No shit, really, shot Benny, half grinning. Yeah, no shit, dimwit. Craven punched him hard in the chest. He regretted having divulged a family secret to this jerk. And you keep your mouth shut about it, hear? Ow, you fuck! Benny realized he had stepped wrong. Come on, you guys, Todd mediated. Danny defended the group honor. That Bobby Ray's a wet, runny turd, probably a queer anyway. Yeah, he's a queer, was the group assent. She's making a martini. I want to drink a martini and live in a penthouse with her. Holy Toledo, we're dead and in heaven. Look at those nipperinos. Danny grabbed the magazine and ran around the hollow, the other guys chasing him, yelling in protest. But Danny was the fastest of the four. He was short, but he won every race, whatever the distance, and was almost impossible to bring down in football. He could scramble up a tree with simian grace, which he did now, and hung by one hand, waving the prize over their heads as they jumped like hounds after a possum to grab the treasured playboy just out of reach. After a few moments, they tired of the game and Danny turned serious. Okay, Todd, I came through. Now it's your turn. Yeah, Todd, came from the other guys, equally serious. Todd chewed his lip, torn between what he knew was wrong and duty to the pack. I guess I have to, but you're a sick pervert for coming up with this stupid idea, Benny. We'll just try it. What the hell, Benny protested. You're pretty twisted for a preacher's kid, interjected Craven, but nobody voted against the idea. All right, Todd shrugged. Come on, let's clean up. The Blackhawks grinned conspiratorially and started picking up their leavings. They stashed the pipes and brushed the ground with pine branches, walking out backwards. The hollow always had to look like no one had been there. This was sacred ground. God help anyone who broke the bond and told an outsider.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of The Eclectic Reader. Please go on to the next numbered episode to continue. Also, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you'd like to help support the project, you can donate under Madison Mason at Patreon. And please, check out our website, kltkrdr.com, for more information.
Hi, this is Madison Mason. I want to personally thank you for listening to The Eclectic Reader and invite you to share your experience, your thoughts, and your suggestions. We have many great books lined up for the future, but if you have requests for anything that is in the public domain, please email us at kltkrdr@gmail.com.
kltkrdr@gmail.com